Okay, hi there, hey again. I wanted to make this video about my insights for the new year, for 2016. And this is going to be quite different than what I had originally planned because I think I mentioned in one of my videos I was going to do basically a tarot reading for the new year, find out, what I need to keep in mind for each of the different months, which I did. And I pulled a card basically for each month, and then I did a more detailed reading with my Lenormand cards on January to find out more about that month in particular. But all of that aside, I made some goals. I'm making quasi-progress toward my goals for this month, but all of that kind of went by the wayside, which I wasn't expecting. When I got home, I was visiting family for the month of December, and I got home, and all of a sudden I got really into this mood of slow down. I had all these great thoughts and ideas and goals and everything, which I'm still working toward, but the main theme that has just kind of taken over since the new year started was this idea of unplug and slow down and really enjoy life, enjoy this year. And so some things, actually what that means to me is, I used to do certain things that I don't really do anymore, namely reading and writing. I used to always have my nose in a book, always. And I haven't, since going back to school and working and all of that, I barely have time to skim through something for reference every now and again. So that's one thing. I want to start reading again. And the other is writing. I used to enjoy writing so much. That was my hobby as a kid growing up. And I always got so much encouragement, especially from my father. He's always asking me, oh, have you written anything new? What have you written? How's your writing going? And I've started to really feel bad that I have nothing to tell him when he asks me. I haven't created anything in so long. And I've gotten so used to typing everything. It's the personal aspect of writing is just gone. So what I decided to do for this year, that I'm enjoying so far, we're only a few days into the new year, but I am getting back in touch with this lovely book, my journal, my current journal. I think this is the third or fourth that I've had, and I am about that far into it. But you'll notice now this I started in 2012. So this much, for how many years now? 13, 14, 15, oh goodness, 4 years? I have not been writing at all. I used to write quite a bit. But what I noticed was, for several years there, and just in general, I'm not really interested anymore in what I was writing. What I was writing was usually just kind of an emotional dump of when I was in the doldrums, having a bad time, or wanted to talk about something I was feeling, which is fine, but when it takes up the entire book, it gets kind of boring. And I realized that there were some good times also when I was happy or when I was traveling that didn't get even an honorable mention in my journal. I have no written memory of those times, which kind of bugs me because now it's been so much longer and I don't have the details anymore. So I'm getting reacquainted with my journal this year. And another thing that I received over the holidays, one of my gifts, which I really love it. I'm not sure if I'll be able to keep up with it, but it's really beautiful. This, I know where it came from, the Gale Song catalog, Celtic Gifts. And this was a gift from my mom over Christmas, and it is the niftiest thing. It is a journal, and it has some extra blank pieces here that you can customize and keep also with it, because you'll notice that the inside of this journal, the spaces are not very big. And what this is meant for, this is the 13th of, I'm assuming, January. No, this is March. Okay, 13th of March, but you'll notice that it has 10 spaces to write. So the idea is a 10-year journal where you write each year on this day the most important thing to you for that day. And you can look back each year at what's similar, what's different, and you have a record for 10 years of all of this, which I think is a really kind of nifty idea. Whether or not I'll be able to keep up with it, I have no idea. We are on we must be on the 8th now, because so far so good. I have been filling this out each day. It also has a very lovely inside portion. I love this family tree. I love how it looks. What I don't love about it is, notice, if I put me here, then in theory you have my parents here, and then maybe my father's parents or my mother's parents, but then you very quickly run out of enough spaces. So there are not enough spaces to put the correct lineage here. So I have to see what I want to do with that. But I like the idea. And then on the other side, of course, you have a spot for personal information for the journal. And I believe, yes, it does. In the back, this is, by the way, a paper blanks journal. Very nice. In the back, it has a little pocket. So if I have any notes I want to keep, and it has a elastic band also for closing up the journal. This does get a little bit in the way putting it in the holder, so I just don't use it, but I like that it's available, that it's an option. And then, of course, this lovely keeper for it to just put the journal into, plus the other piece here. They do have some pre-done printouts on the website that you can use these for. This is just blank paper, basically, kind of parchment paper, and they have printouts. You can run this through the printer, or you can write on it as however you like if you want more details on something specific. These I know they have one having to do with children's milestones, maybe relationship milestones, things like that. So if you want to write in more detail, you put that in here, and it has just an elastic keeper, and then you take this whole folder and you stick it in here with the journal, which is also a nice idea. But again, there's not a whole lot of extra space in this keeper, so you can't make this one too thick either. But I like the idea. Alright, last thing on this note for slowing down and writing. What I've been trying to do, therefore, is get away from my computer, away from the typing, and really practice my penmanship, my handwriting. I love writing. Since my grandfather passed away, I don't really have a pen pal. I have one friend who's a pen pal, but we're not really as consistent as I was with my grandfather, so I have to work on that. But just slowing down and working on my penmanship. And one thing that I also got over the holidays, but it was not a gift, it was a gift to myself, is this box. It got a little bit nicked in transport, but otherwise it's actually kind of a nice box. And inside, it's got kind of a felt inside, and it comes with this, they call it a textbook. It's just kind of a reference for different types of writing, calligraphy mainly, and some of the pointed writing like copperplate and Spencerian. And then it comes also, hopefully I can do this without dropping anything, with different pen holders, a couple of different inks. I think there's a blue, a black, something else, and a cleaner. And what I mainly got this for was the nibs. It has both calligraphy and cursive nibs. The difference being mainly the calligraphy nibs, you'll notice, are flat at the top, and then the cursive nibs are pointed. Now, these pen holders that are in here are really pretty gaudy and cheap. They're just plastic. Here's another one. But they're a good example of different kinds of pen holders that I can practice with. What I really wanted out of this set was actually this one, which is the oblique pen holder, which I've heard is the best to use for what I want to do, which is the cursive, like the Spencerian or copperplate. So this is what I wanted out of this set, aside from the additional nibs, the calligraphy nibs that I didn't have. I will probably not be using those pen holders aside from the oblique because I have nicer ones. I have this one, which is metal, and it just looks very pretty, very beautiful, and it's very thin. I like thin because my hands are small and I don't like really thick pens. They're not comfortable for me. So I have this one, and then I have this one, which is just a plain wooden pen holder. And each of these I can remove the nib and replace it with any of the others that I have. So that is something I'm looking forward to this year, is working on my penmanship and getting back to paper, working with paper and ink, and just being connected with these things, because while it may be very convenient and I think very useful to have copies of your witchy work on the computer for reference, there's just something really valuable and special in the act of putting pen to paper with possibly a homemade ink. I have some lovely dragon's blood ink that I made, and really giving it more of your personal feeling and energy by doing that. So I think that is it for items that I wanted to share with you from Yule, and thanks very much for joining me for that, and I hope that some of you will also take the time this year to slow down and remember the things that you love and to work on those this year, because that's what it's all about, isn't it? Just really enjoying life. Thank you again, and talk to you soon.